You expect me to spend the best years of my life pushing your wheelchair, Michael? That's what she said. Can you believe it? The words came out cold, sharp as broken glass, seconds after I just told her the truth sitting there in that brand new wheelchair, legs numb as stone, voice trembling, admitting what the doctors had said. Nobody knows if I'll ever walk again. Maybe months, maybe years, maybe never. I remember thinking she'd cry, maybe swear she'd stay, maybe squeeze my hand and promise something, anything. Instead, Juliet just stared, jaw clenched, like she was reading a script she hated. Her next words, "Cut the air clean into you," were supposed to be my future, my red carpets, my ticket out. Now you want me to be your nurse? Don't be ridiculous. You want honesty? That was the most honest I'd ever seen her. I was 44 years old. Michael Johnson built a fortune from scratch, fought off sharks in every boardroom from Manhattan to Malibu. Thought I'd seen every brand of cruelty there was. Turns out, none of that prepares you for the moment the person you love decides you're not useful anymore. Juliet's voice just kept going, sharper, louder. What will people say? That glamorous Juliet gave up her life to spoon-feed a cripple? I won't do it, Michael. Not ever. She grabbed some heavy award I'd won years ago, a hunk of crystal with my name etched in gold, and for a split second I wondered if she'd actually do it, then she hurled it straight at me. That's when Maya burst in. She'd been my housekeeper, background noise most days, but right then, she darted between us like she'd done 1,000 times. The award caught her on the shoulder, shattered, glass everywhere, blood running bright down her arm. Juliet shrieked at her to stay out of it, but Maya just stood there, trembling, bleeding, saying, "Don't blame Mr. Johnson, please. He doesn't deserve this." You ever have a moment where everything just freezes? All the noise and pain and shame sort of hums in your chest at once. That was me, seeing my arms shaking, eyes begging, protecting me from the woman I thought would be my future. And in that split second, I remembered something my father said just a week earlier when I was still learning how to steer this damn chair. Hard times show you what love really is, son. Easy times, everybody smiles for the camera. It's the dark that shows you who stays. And just like that, the mask was off. Juliet's face twisted up, but it was Maya's eyes that got to mesh was scared, hurting, but her only plea was protect him. Not herself, not her job, just me. Funny how you don't see people until everything falls apart. Juliet finally let Maya go, spat some insult at both of us, slammed the door so hard the chandelier rattled. The silence was thick as wet cement. Maya was still on her knees, clutching her arm, apologizing for making a mess, saying she just couldn't let Juliet hurt me. I looked at her, saw every act of quiet kindness over the past week's lemon water at dawn, fresh sheets on nights I couldn't sleep, Scout the dog curled beside me, because she lifted him up when I couldn't. Juliet had never done any of that. Love wasn't red carpets or designer gowns. It was Maya bleeding for me on a marble floor. That night, the house felt emptier than ever. I barely slept, kept replaying Juliet's words, the glass, the blood. By morning, I made up my mind no more pretending, no more trying to cover up what was broken. Maya insisted on coming with me to the hospital, arm bandaged up, just a quiet presence that somehow made me feel stronger. In the hospital's private wing, it was all business. My lawyer, my doctor, my father. They all wanted to know how we'd spin this would. We hide the truth, give the press some optimistic line? I said no. We'd say therapy's ongoing, outcome uncertain. My father told me the real test was done. Juliet had failed, but the lesson was mine to use. I looked over at Maya, standing awkwardly by the door, bandage peeking out, and I realized this is who I trust now. That week blurred past calls from investors, gossip swirling about the broken billionaire and the runaway fiancée. But the only thing that really changed was how I saw Maya. Every morning, she brought lemon water. Every night, she sat with me through pain and frustration. When I snapped, she never snapped back. When I cursed the world, she just hummed some old hymn and kept moving. We fell into a rhythm therapy in the morning, business in the afternoon, quiet evenings with Scout dozing between us. Once, when I was struggling to shift in my chair, I snapped, "Why are you still here?" She just smiled, soft and sad, and said, "Protecting people's the only thing I know how to do." You know what I mean? Sometimes the simplest words land the hardest. Soon enough, the board came sniffing for blood conference calls full of thinly veiled questions about my capacity. Some even suggested I step aside, let someone stronger take the helm. I refused. No one's writing me off. Not now, not ever. Meanwhile, Juliet was out there spinning her own story beaches, champagne, vague quotes about freedom and self-care. The press ate it up, made her the star. I let them. Let them underestimate me. Let them see only the chair. The real story was happening in the silence of my house casseroles from neighbors. Maya humming as she cleaned, Scout curled up under my hand. But it couldn't last. Paparazzi started camping outside the gates. Some even hassled Maya at the market, snapping photos, whispering about the caretaker who replaced Juliet. When she told me, her voice was brittle. They only see the chair. They don't see the fight. I wanted to shield her, to drag the world in and make them look closer, but all I could do was promise she wouldn't face it alone. Grant, my lawyer, said we needed a show of strength at gala, photos, a speech for the cameras. I hated it, but I agreed. That night, I put on the suit, wheeled onto the terrace, and made my speech about resilience. The cameras clicked, the applause felt hollow. But at the edge of the crowd, Maya watched not with admiration, not with pity, but with that steady, honest gaze that saw through every mask. Later, in the kitchen, she asked, "Did it work?" I shrugged. For them, maybe. For me? I don't know. She just pushed a plate toward me. Maybe you don't need to prove anything to them. That hit me harder than the speech ever could. Days passed, tension simmering. Juliet's name was everywhere, her face on every magazine. Then, out of nowhere, she called voice syrupy sweet, offering to visit, but not to stay, not if it meant giving up her life. I told her, move in or don't bother calling. She hung up, furious. Maya heard the whole thing. She just said, "You gave her a choice. That's all anyone can do." That night, my father visited. He told me, "The test isn't just who fails, son. It's who passes." I glanced at Maya, busy in the kitchen, and realized I'd been looking at the answer all along. Weeks blurred into one another. The headlines kept coming: Juliet as the wronged woman, Maya painted as a gold digger, me as the crippled billionaire clinging to anyone who'd stay. Then came the lawsuit: Juliet claiming I tricked her, misrepresented my condition. The press feasted on it. Talk shows dissected every detail. Paparazzi hounded Maya. One afternoon, a photographer shoved a camera in her face, called her the replacement. That's when I decided enough. I called a press conference, brought Maya to my side, told the world the truth. Maya didn't manipulate anyone. When everyone else left, she stayed. When things got ugly, she bled for me. When the world wanted a spectacle, she gave quiet loyalty. The headlines went wild, some mocked, some praised. Juliet did her rounds on TV, playing the victim. Maya just kept humming, bandaging her own wounds, moving through the house with that same quiet steadiness. The trial was brutal. Maya was called to the stand, cross-examined, accused, her every motive twisted. She didn't flinch. She looked the lawyer in the eye and said, "I stayed because loyalty matters. Because leaving would have meant betraying myself." In that moment, the whole courtroom felt silent, and I knew no amount of lies could erase what everyone had just seen. But Juliet's camp didn't stop. They dug up Maya's past, painted her as a schemer, released grainy footage from therapy sessions, claimed I'd fake my paralysis for sympathy. The world howled. But in the quiet of the mansion, Maya kept showing up lemon water at dawn, jokes about milkshakes and fries, calming Scout when he barked at the shadows. One night, after the headlines got especially ugly, I asked her, "Why do you do it, Maya? Why stay? Why bleed? Why take all this?" She said, "Because leaving someone alone in their hardest hort hat's not who I am." That's the truth, you know. The world spins 1,000 stories, but in the end, it's the one person who stays, who keeps showing up when things get ugly, who chooses to fight beside you even when there's nothing in it for them. That's the person who defines what happens next. So here's my question for you: where do you draw the line? Is loyalty about grand gestures and vows? Or is it about the quiet endurance, The willingness to bleed for someone, to shield their dignity when nobody else will? Drop your thoughts below. I want to know when the cameras are off, when life gets ugly. Who do you trust to stay? Who passes the test?